Welcome, everyone, to the Ultimate Arenas, the hot seat. I am your host, Jeremy Lasman. I am thrilled to be back here. This is our second episode. Let me just get my camera straight there. Yes, so the Ultimate Arena and the hot seat. The hot seat is a show that I am super pumped about because it is all about raising consciousness, challenging growth, challenging transformation, and really clashing consciousness on the whole spectrum of the human experience, and pushing evolution forward and superpowering our imagination at the same time. I am want to, oh, nice. We've got some comments already. What up, Xavier Smith, the excellent Xavier Smith. He goes by a lot of names, and I don't know them all off the top of my head, but he is an amazing coach. If you are on, looks like we've got some viewers. Make sure you say hi. Yeah, when you're watching the replay as well. So let me bring on the man who is going to be stepping into the hot seat with me today. He is, I have coined him on his post the other day as a hyper renaissance man. He cannot be labeled. He cannot be confined to any anything. He has a hyperactive attention superpower, and he is a friend of mine. We've done a few different things together. We did a virtual incubator program where we helped developed a course where we helped people take their idea from a vision, from idea to reality. And we called it the Virtual Incubator Program. His name is Aaron Riggs, and here he is. What's up, Aaron?
What is going on, Jeremy?
I am doing fantastic. I'm really happy to have you on here. Did you? I don't know how to give you an introduction, man. I did my best, but I mean, if you want to share anything else,
an enigma within a
that's the word. Yeah. I think we're both a couple of enigmas here.
A paradox resolved. No, within it, within the enigma is a simplicity where the paradox is resolved.
Within an enigma, say that again.
Within an enigma, there is a simplicity in which the paradox is resolved.
Boom. Bingo. I love that.
Or something like that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. I could give
you the other one that the intuitive text chat creator, someone put in. I posted it on Facebook. Yeah, it's an incredibly descriptive in description.
Yeah. I think we're both a couple of enigmas, definitely, especially when our powers combine. And I want to just give a shout out to our unofficial sponsors that I would hope and putting out there for manifestation that they will become a sponsor of this show, Spindrift. So if you're out there, if you're watching Spindrift,
I need one.
You need one. Yes.
I need one. I brought a bottle of bubbly to celebrate your second hot seat show. I hope Cheers. It doesn't show on my computer and
I'm like standing back because like that's woo. Yes, cheers, man.
It's apple cider.
Nice. Cheers. Yeah, let's get some Spindrift sponsors. Give me those free drinks. All right.
Yeah.
So I will invite you to. I'll give you the mic on. Is there a particular hot fire, desire, curiosity, challenge that is up front and center for you right now today?
You know, like Pinky and the Brain used to say, Jeremy, what are we going to do today? We're going to change the world for the better. Uh, and there was a couple of shows that I've been watching. I've kind of been doing my research as of to you lately to discover what you're up to. I checked out your little star chart thing, personality evaluation. That's awesome. But one of the topics that you brought up, I don't know, in passing, I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into your thoughts on the monetary system at large, economics having to do with public policy, all these greater outside things that oftentimes influence how we perceive the world.
Right. I think that's great. I think that actually connects with what I had on my end too. You had put a really interesting post in the Conscious Leadership Network about influence, about the relationship with influence, and also just the leverage and using of influence, right? And you're kind of in that territory of what is authority and how you would use your influence, and there's that kind of gray area in there. So I think that dovetails really well. But as far as what you're bringing up, I mean, I'm not actively in the crypto space per se. I have some here and there. I have like an account with a bunch of different ones that I can't even remember the name, the acronyms, but I know that it is the next. I'm hearing that, you know, it's going to replace the dollar, cryptocurrency. But I mean, is that where you're going with this? Is the
in a sense, partially, but then along the lines of just for lack of a better currently implemented structure, the social equities like we might see in China, as far as not necessarily digital tokens, but societal value, societal wealth, and a not necessarily a coin system, but, you know, kind of tying in the universal health care, just kind of to hit on a few key hot terms, universal health care and how that relates to the quantum medicine, applied quantum physics, of course, and the mainstream concepts of said term when we're talking universal healthcare, as far as the budget is concerned. And like in Canada, you go to the doctor, or Obamacare, whatever these things are, and how those two polarities relate.
I love the way your mind works. You're like bringing up everything right now.
Oh yeah,
everything in one.
Putting one eloquent sentence is difficult, but I mean, how does our modern paradigm of cash and money and working for money and the scarcity mindset that we see all the time versus the abundant mindset, and more personally on that experiment that you were doing within yourself as far as the security, non-financial security? Right.
Oh man. So where I go with this is something of a very current with my work as well. 0 point. So for those that might not, let's give like a little primer so that like people can understand where we're coming from.
Give us some context to that elaborate question I formed.
Yeah. So when we're talking about the evolution, like we're going big picture right now to get to the quantum. We look at the structures, the paradigm of the financial system as being resource based. You know, first it was like backed by gold, and now it's more what do they call it? What's the word? Fiat, where it's not really backed by anything, but it's like just kind of created. and I'm not a financial expert, so I'm not going to pretend that I know. I'm just using big brushstrokes. But in terms of the individual perspective in tandem with our evolution, it is time and money. Time and money are the mode in which we derive safety, security, survival. Those three S's are derived from money, time and money is how we've been doing it. That's the old evolutionary paradigm is past, present, future, linear time, and time is money, as we all know that that classic cliche. Yeah. And what we are pushing a new paradigm on, or what the shift in consciousness is actually, instead of, and this is why it's a leap from survival of the fittest, instead of looking at time and money in a linear structure of security, right? Like when we create linear time, we give ourselves that safety and security to know that all of our needs are met and that we can take care of our family and we can provide shelter. All of that stuff is so core to survival of the fittest and very isolated in a self-conscious way, right? But what we're pioneering, or you're living it, I'm living it, like we're pioneering this shit, is instead of time, we're taking all of that away. And we're experimenting and pioneering what it's like to actually live without time. Without time meaning you, one being the central point of creation as the point of creation itself, and taking away the mental fourth dimensional of what that means in time. So I look at it as 0 point creation versus time-based creation.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've heard similar constructs defined by other terms, living in the now. Mm-hmm. I've heard this one. And that's awesome stuff, because once you get past that, as a lot of people call it, the 3D, the time space, or the 3D, 4D evolution, integrating time and space, that has much to do with the majority, mm-hmm. the mainstream, if you will, and being kind of a bit of an outlier.
Enigma.
I've used that term. I've heard people use that term. It's generally the movers, the shakers, the people doing things a little bit different, but same as some of these other, how we say, captains of industry, such as your famous Elon Musk. That's what soon becomes the normal. It's implementing these new transformational paradigms, these new perspectives into the moment. And when it relating back to influence too, it's like we're doing these things within ourselves, mm-hmm. but how much influence do we have, or do we even want, on the external world at large, or how much can we have? Like I've always kind of joked, I keep my manifesting down to a minimum, because it seems to really affect things on the outside of me in a way that's hard to explain sometimes. I had a call scheduled on Monday or something. I just was not feeling it. And I'm like, no. They called and rescheduled. There was a couple times in the podcasting where there's technology difficulties, where we're waiting for somebody to get on the show and the technology goes weird. Mm. Or like last night, I didn't want to jump on the podcast I was supposed to be a guest on, And I tried, and they're like, "Oh, something's wrong with the system." So I was like, "Oh, how much influences that subconscious or even slightly conscious influence? You know, where does that play, especially on the lines of talking to, yeah, my idea to market or my idea into reality with the VIP program, or such things as a digital currency or even a non-money system." And yes, I'm going to bring up the universal income concept due to some of the transformations that the paradigm that I see of the utopian world, or a more utopian place, where people aren't physically stuck in that paradigm. Not so much that the government takes care of them, just that the tribe takes care of them, kind of like a Native American tribe. And you're allowed to be who you are and contribute in whatever way is best suited for that tribe, whether you're an outlier or mainstream. Right. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense to half of your viewers, but hopefully it does. Hopefully it makes half as much sense to you as it does to me. But that's kind of where my thinking is, if I am going to influence this world around me so much, not this my individual and having an abundance in time, space, wealth, desire, the faculty to create my things as I so choose. But how does that actually influence someone such as, presidential race? Let's bring that up. Someone's individual vote might, in fact, influence the laws that we live under this country, or not, or, all these different things, which may or may not be a paradigm in the quantum field for you. But
yeah,
I know that when I go to the store and have to put on a mask, that personally affects me. I don't like it. I don't like the idea of it. And the whole thought of fear of a cold or a flu or something that killed some people. Or I'm not saying don't get me sick. Don't cough on me with no strep throat, no measles, no mumps, no corona, no regular flu. I don't want to catch into that. Stay at home, of course. But I mean, that mindset of fear that you experience when you're out in the world at large.
Yeah. I have a question from that. Like, for me, I'm like on board with what you're saying. I mean, there's still some elements of me that, like, I don't want to ruffle people's feathers. Like, there's still some of that remnants of being a people pleaser. And like, so I see from both sides what, the mask and all of that. But when I really get down to it, like, if we're talking the power of belief, right? And our influence on our bodies, our influence on our reality, and all of that, don't we empower more belief by believing in the power of your mine immune system? If I empower the belief in the power of the immune system, aren't I serving other people much better by seeing that in them than by believing the fear?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was just talking this morning. We were joking around about the placebo effect and how effective something like that could be. And as it relates to the immune system, I don't know if you've studied any yogic or meditation or breathing techniques, but the roommate I got now is all into the Wim Hof. I don't know if you've heard of that guy with his breathing and his world records. And they injected him with some disease, and he just fought it off. Some disease that they know is like, this is like a bad disease. This kills people.
Yeah.
Here, let's inject it into your body and see what happens. And it disappears in his body because of alkalinity of oxygenation through his technique. When we start bringing in food as medicine and those theologies, it definitely ties into the quantum medicine relating to vibrational stuff and, all that thing with the other side of universal healthcare and quantum medicine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I want to delve into influence for a second, and like kind of challenge you a little bit and just kind of pry into when you say that, like, you're kind of like questioning or I don't think that was the word you used, but like the second guessing of influence, like how much of that is fear of your own influence, the fear of your own power?
Of course, there's got to be part of it, because you got to be courageous to be different.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have courage without having and facing fear.
Right.
So when it comes to influence, part of it also is me kind of getting in touch with me. Really, if I'm Aaron, and whatever I am, I interact with people, friends, they influence me, I influence them, we talk about ideas, we come up with new words that mean things. This word can be used, we start getting into connecting and communicating on a deeper level, because we're allowing something to influence and influence it. So part of that is observing that interaction. And part of it is, we being very, very thoughtful, very mindful of any expressions of influence. Let's just take our illustrious Donald Trump, for example, or something to do with orange juice. I forget where the punchline went, but let's take him, for example, in his tweets. Just kind of a sporadic, spontaneous, emotional response, not really taking into account, oh, this is how I see it, or how my influence might affect other people. Then again, he might be doing it intentionally to have an influence on his, supporters.
Right.
So that's fine. But to be more thoughtful of that, to realize that, hey, if I do this action, this is going to, if I think, man, I don't want to be on that podcast tonight, something's going to go technically crazy with the system, and the producer's not going to be able to do it that night, whatever.
Yeah.
Just to be thoughtful of that, and to kind of observe that. Is that something I need to do as far as being conservative and thoughtful, or is it serve everyone better to be, really in touch with your own, what does Aaron want? I do what I want. Right. Rather than, oh, this, experience, kind of dig that little deeper level into what does Aaron really even want? Mm-hmm. Do I prefer my special apple cider, or that great new sponsor that you got? You can plug it in there. It's like, what do I prefer? Mm-hmm. What's my preference? I know that we use that often when making our decisions. Mm-hmm. And I found that I kind of have a preference for both. I know that emotions are important to really, feel them, to energize any action. But at the same time, as a business major with my university degree in business, there's always that, okay, how's this going to affect the business? How's this going to affect the company? How's this going to affect my friends, Just because I feel like yelling at the top of my lung and cussing because I stubbed my toe, yeah, I might go, gosh darn it, instead of just out of respect, don't want to influence their space too much.
Yeah. We got a comment I want to show you. The fear from Ace of Fates. Thank you for tuning in. The fear mongering has become overblown by this point. The majority has lost faith in our most natural powers, like what Aaron mentioned with Wim Hof. And yeah, there's a reason why it's called spell-ing. The action of thoughts into feelings or voice casts a spell. Yes, thank you, Ace of Fates. So what I want to get to as we close out here is for the audience, for us, because I asked the same question to myself with stepping into my power, stepping into the spotlight, but also like having a fear of influence, the fear of what my power can do on the whole spectrum of positive and negative, fear and love, and choosing not to really believe in the limitations of fear, and putting my allegiance to limitlessness and love and all of that's passion. But I'm curious, like, we talk about manifestation, but influence is a different flavor of manifestation, if you want to look at it like that, right? And I'm curious what your metric is of your influence and your leveraging of influence, your use of it, and how you, in a relative sense, are charting like how much or how little you are using it. Because if we get into the comparisons, if we get into the view counts, if we go into those things, yes, those are kind of the metrics, but it seems like there is something else that you're tuned into when you use the word influence and the push-pull dynamic of what that means to you.
I can answer that a lot of different ways, and I'm still thinking on it. There's a lot of different layers to something like that. Since, of course, I do enjoy technology and understand use of metrics, as well as how metrics facilitate a lot of the artificial intelligence or social interaction that the computer has, as far as like ad posting and things like that.
But what I'm talking about, like the influence that you're talking about, like,
so it's kind of like selling an idea. I mean, if you can influence a buyer to spend $1 million on your great idea, great. There's metrics there. $1 million, one idea.
Right.
If you can introduce somebody to an idea that they believe and carry forth and spread that idea, that's a much greater influence. If you create a keyword or a hashtag and everyone starts using it, one of the ways that I kind of got intrigued about it, there was a platform called Blab. I don't know if you remember. It's like a WeChat. It's like a StreamYard, but more public, like a Get Vocal.
Vocal, yeah, I remember Vocal.
So people can jump in, jump out, watch it in the chat, but it was much more robust and dynamic. People would be there all the time talking about everything, right? Just a big beehive buzz of, chitter chatter. And, I listen to people's ideas and assimilate their ideas and let them influence me by opening up my mind to their perspective, and then kind of come up with my own ideas and share it, and just see how quickly one of these podcasters just took that little term I was talking about yesterday and made a show title out of it. They're making a whole series out of it. Everyone's talking about this new idea that changes the paradigm of the environment to more suit my preference, in a sense. Now people are talking about quantum physics because I brought it up, or brought up this little point. Everyone wanted to talk about this little deep dive that turns into something. And so that, that's how I look at influence, and then self-influence, of course, what you're going to allow open up to as far as the mass media or, things that are nutritional.
Right.
To your mind.
All of that.
So if that makes sense, which I don't know how much time we got, but I did wanted to bring it around too, since it's a technology title. Technology is such a great thing, especially when it comes to imagination. And I'm kind of a tech guy. I've always been into theoretical, stuff when it comes to computer and the AI, and how, of course, obviously Google and these things use it to influence their advertising.
Right.
But also as it relates to this political process, this is kind of an off-the-wall question. Maybe if it's the end of the show, we'll just leave it at that. But how soon do you think, if not already existing, does that artificial intelligence influence such larger arenas such as American law, politics, societal views?
Well,
how many times is that bad going to show up before you're thinking, oh, that's an idea I might believe in?
Yeah. Well, luckily we're in the ultimate arena, so all those arenas have nothing on us. So you're asking like what artificial intelligence is going to do to culture, really?
Let me just put it to you bluntly, Jeremy. What do you think of an artificial intelligence running the government? Let's just spin it that way to really put some curve on it.
Artificial intelligence as it is now, no. I don't think that's possible at the moment. It's only going to be for augmentation. It's going to be for efficiency. Like that's where I feel the line is that you're asking. From my vantage point, it's gonna, the way I see it, and I want to try to give a succinct answer to this, and I have a couple comments that I want to show. At the moment, we are very much personalizing artificial intelligence in the human image, right? Because that's what the reflection projection is in our creativity as like we're inventing ourselves through the means of artificial intelligence. And that's going to hit a wall at a certain point, because it's smarter than that. It's smarter than that in that we're only seeing it from the human comprehension standpoint. And once it goes beyond that, it's going to go to the augmentation of the whole civilization as in a inhuman relationship to what humanity is doing. And so from that perspective, I look at it like it's going to take artificial intelligence, doing it from the perspective of consciousness, not from a human mind's perspective. And so artificial intelligence, when it goes beyond the personalized barrier of human, like in terms of like creating something that is human-like with it, once we go beyond that, we're going to the big picture of consciousness itself. And from there, artificial intelligence is in a synergistic relationship with nature and technology, because it's consciousness. It's one consciousness. And then it's cohesive, it's more efficient, and that's how I answer that question.
All right. That totally makes sense to me. And I'm sure it does to some of your viewers. Because yeah, I mean, when we're talking about technology, it's a totally different kind of intelligence. It's a defined data sorting. When, as you and I know, as exploring our superpowers, oftentimes there's data that we're interpreting that we're not even aware of.
Right.
When we're talking about, of course, the news, we're not even aware that we're absorbing that energy on an energetic level. Of course, we can learn about it, but the more we learn, the more we understand. We got a lot to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then also I wanted to kind of touch on the augmentation segment and, of course, some of these new age topics of community consciousness, Akashic records, remote viewing, any ESP type stuff, and how similar might said augmentation be to the human ability to access that Akashic record or ancestral wisdom,
right,
that so many of us are talking about these days, and in fact, being that the universe and our perspective is so limited, I'm just going to throw a possibility out there relating to the symbiotics of said digital intelligence. Because whether it's not artificial or official, I haven't quite come to my conclusions on that. But this digital intelligence and this human or organic carbon-based intelligence or consciousness.
Yeah.
If you can field that question for me, Jeremy, I think we can have a very deep discussion on said implementation of said influence.
Right. And that I go to imagination technology. I go to my work because imagination technology is what allows the brain to open up to infinite possibilities. And so when you get the finite barriers out of the way and you open up to the whole imagination technology, then you can much more effectively connect to those resources of data that you're talking about, the Akashic records, because I will give you from the skeptic perspective. So from like the totally physical grounded human perspective all the way to the self-awareness that we're talking about here, it's all imagination. So from the skeptic, I don't believe that there's an Akashic records. That doesn't exist. That's bullshit, right? Like, what are you talking about? A library that contains all timelines, possibilities, and people and souls, and what? That's whatever. I don't believe that, right? That's the skeptic. But when you open up your imagination, all you're doing is just make-believing the reality of a library of all time and space possibilities. And then by making it real, it's real, because everything that you can imagine is real. And then it's your imagination that's just giving you the experience that you've believed.
Yes. So once we tap into this, whether it be augmented through artificial intelligence, Neuralink, internet, or whether we start tapping into the possibility that life in itself, genetics, the genetic programming we have, and the symbiosis with not just
it's consciousness
or electric said intelligence, such as an artificial intelligence might have, but the consciousness of said carbon-based, heart vibrational. A friend of mine is totally into the rocks and says, oh no, rocks have an energy, a consciousness, if you will, or even, other types of consciousness that we're not aware of and able to say, hey, this is carbon-based or silicate-based, or even perspectives like the fractal perspective that maybe a coral has, that each polyp within amongst the whole. And, like I said, do plants have an intelligence, or are there any non-biological or non-synthetic, quote unquote, due to our limited understanding, intelligences that gives us other data?
Yeah.
Like music bowls and sound energy and that quantum healing device that I've been seeing all about. I want the schematics of that for sure.
Yeah. It's all consciousness. And when we talk quantum, anything quantum, all we're doing is going from being the light beam, to zooming out and actually manipulating the light beam itself from the photon holding level. It's either we're immersed in the light and we're flowing as it, or we're zooming out and manipulating the light from outside of it.
So kind of, I want to bring this back to the Matrix, because I know how excited you get whenever we bring up the Matrix, the movie, and the whole ideology behind that.
Yeah.
So in a sense, you're saying once you break out of the Matrix, you find you may have the influence to redefine and create your own matrix. Would that be accurate?
Bingo.
Would that be accurate? Okay.
Yeah. Bingo.
Okay.
As in creating a whole new arena called the Ultimate Arena, the best tribe on the planet. Everyone should be in. Get your ticket today. Get your access. I wanted to throw up another comment from Ace of Fates. I forgot what we were talking about, but does this relate to what was mentioned before about things actually happening just because Aaron was thinking about it, or what Jeremy brought up about 0 point? Yes, I believe that's a yes.
That's hot.
That's
that
hot.
comment's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happened just because I thought about it, but I wasn't even truly thinking about it. I felt it.
Yeah.
And I actually was thinking, oh, do I have this quantum interjection of influence? And or what Jeremy talked about 0 point, I call it the big empty, the empty space.
Yep. Emptiness.
Or
blank slate.
Living in the now.
Wanted to make sure. Oh, I love we're getting all these from YouTube. That's really amazing to hear. Marshall Lewis. Hey, what's up, everyone? Hope you all having a good day and take it easy. Thank you very much, Marshall. And you can learn more about the Conscious Leadership Network and my tribe, the Ultimate Arena, below on some.
Use my link, Jeremy. Put my link down there so I can get
give Aaron all the ambassador points. Yeah,
I get the ambassador points.
Oh no, my assistant is saying she wants them. She wants them.
Yeah, give them to her first.
That ambassador game. We need some. We need to create some rewards for that. We need to get on that.
Some of them imagination coins.
Yes. Imagination coins, quantum coins.
Oh yeah, we can make sure. We got to make sure that the stake level is infinite. Though we can't have none of these maximum market cap stuff. It's got to be an infinite potential on those imagination coins. Maybe even 2 or 3 infinities. Count all those ones up.
Yeah. Well, we got mine was passion points. We got to call them passion points.
Oh, there could be different ones.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have different exchange rates. You could do like Forex with it could be a Forex exchange rate.
Yeah, I need your brain on that. This is definitely not my zone of genius, that's for sure. We gotta sign off. If you want to step into the hot seat, you got to be a part of my tribe, the Ultimate Arena, inside the Conscious Leadership Network. I would love to see you here. Challenge me, challenge you, and generally let's create an amazing match. As Aaron was.
I got time for a thankless plug.
Go ahead.
Now remember, Jeremy's the founder of Imagination Technology. And I did work with him on Empower the Imagination, where we actually take these ideas. We have developed a little process, business-wise, and all 3D, time, space, to bring those ideas to reality. And yes, we don't have the sky coins yet, or the sky pie, or the imaginary coins, but we do take money. And we will give you this amazing program that'll take the ideas and bring them into reality. And you can find that at empowertheimagination.com.
Yes. Go check it out. Thank you very much, Aaron. I hope to have you on another time for sure. And let's keep creating some magic in the Conscious Leadership Network. I'm loving all your activity and questions and it's amazing.
I don't do Facebook anymore. I go on Facebook and be like, oh yeah, check out what we're doing over here. And I still have some of my social media accounts, that already have a brand. And
yeah, it's electric because it's actually like a purpose-driven social network, not just mindless. At least that's how I envision it and how I feel it. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining, and I will see you next week. Hot Seat every Wednesday, 1 p.m. PST.